Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about Google Sites. They have introduced a lot of new features that will help you create a website that is very sleek and sophisticated looking that you can use to organize your class materials, an extracurricular activity that you're doing, or pretty much anything else. A quick reminder that with the new Google Sites, they are now born from Google Drive. In your Drive window, you're going to click New, slide down this row, and across the way we can get to Google Sites. At the bottom, when your new site first pops up, you have the option of going to a template gallery in order to put your information into an existing format. So quickly, let's go look at the template gallery so that you can see some of the templates that they have to offer. I admit not very many templates yet, but it does give you a good jumping off point. And they do have a couple that are customized specifically to our education industry. Let's say you want to build it from scratch though, and you don't want to use a template. That's okay too. You can create your page title here. When you create your page title, it'll sync with your untitled site in just a moment. So sample site, and then you can click up here and you can name your entire site Stephanie's Sample. So a couple of things that you can add to your Google site that you might not have been able to do before are first the new layouts that they have available to you. So this is an arrangement of both picture and text. This is one picture and one piece of text, two pictures, etc. There are a couple different ways that you can format it. As far as new options go, collapsible text is a new thing. So if you wanted to provide students with an overview of something and then some specific details. So I'm going to show you an example, Latin 2 at RHS, and then I'm going to create a bulleted list, Cambridge Latin course, fun projects, Roman history, Roman military history. Okay, so there's my collapsible text, and it looks like that. If you want to know what collapsible text is, or if you want to preview any of the features that you're adding to your site, you can click this button in the upper right-hand corner to preview it. So this is what your site looks like on another person's computer. So here's Latin 2 at RHS. I can down click and I can see some of the options here, and I can click up so that you can change the arrangement of text on your page to make it smaller and larger. When you're done looking at your preview, you can go to the lower right-hand corner, edit, exit preview, and back to your site you go. There is, as always, the option for a table of contents. One of the new features of Google Sites is an image carousel. So instead of just having one image in the middle of a page, you can have a series of rotating images. It does tell you that a carousel must have at least 2 images. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a couple of images so I can show you what it looks like to have a carousel. I have a bunch of seemingly random images on my drive or on my computer. They're all from a Kahoot I made. So I know it looks random, but for the sake of conversation today, I'm going to add all of these into my image carousel. And it's going to load them a little bit slowly, but that's okay. And then once you're done loading all the images, you can go ahead and click Insert. And now this is an image carousel, so it'll have several different image options that a student could scroll through. Again, to look at what this would look like on a live website, you can go ahead and click Preview. And now this is what the website is, and now it comes up with those buttons. And you've probably been on a number of websites yourself that have these buttons to kind of scroll through the options. It will also scroll on its own depending on your carousel settings. Now, when you add things to your website, they kind of go automatically into wherever your cursor happens to be, which is not a problem actually, because you can always resize things and move things around. When I hover over this particular image, I get that little cross symbol here. I can click it and I can drag it. And as I'm dragging it around, you can actually see that Google Sites produces almost like a grid that helps you to center things and to place things in a particular place on your page. Similarly, if I were to click it, I can also make it either bigger or smaller just by dragging it. And as I do that, it's actually going to show me what it looks like when it's getting bigger or smaller so that I can place it most accurately on the page to what I'm hoping to do. Buttons are another way of creating a sense of option on your page. So, click here to access the rubric, click here to go to one of the websites that I'm sending you to, etc. A placeholder is a new concept for sites, but to be honest, it's sort of a more illustrious version of inserting either an image or text. When you create a placeholder, you're going to go ahead and select, we'll do a YouTube just for conversation's sake. I'll take an uploaded video that I've done. Here's the induction ceremony for the Honor Society. So now this is a placeholder, and it's a placeholder because it serves as both a video as well as, if you click this settings gear, you can have control settings to the video, you can allow for full screen, etc. And then you can make this also into a link as well if you wanted to. So if I wanted to insert another placeholder, I can show you as well that with the settings, you want to set the file type to any content, and any editor will be able to replace it with their own content. So you're essentially showing students that if they're collaborators on this website, that they are just supposed to put a video there, and you're holding that place in a certain arrangement on your page. And then, of course, you have other options. You can embed a calendar, a map, an image from your drive, etc. Now, along the side here, these are pretty standard options for you in terms of inserting YouTube, which we just did earlier, a calendar, a map, docs, slides, sheets. The one thing I do want to say is, having built a few websites over the last couple of years, I do want to make sure that you remember to adjust the sharing settings of the original document. So if you want to have a slideshow posted here to your website, you should make sure that your sharing settings for the slideshow are that anybody from Ridgewood.K12 or whatever can access it. If you're building a site for outside of Ridgewood's environment, then adjust the sharing settings accordingly. Because even if you embed it as a static image on your page, people still will not be able to see it unless they have already been granted access to the Google Doc or slides or whatever you have. A divider is a great way to visually separate things within a page. And you can move this around. You can make it divide different pictures or different segments of text, etc. Moving up here, so this is the home page of my site. And then what you would do if you wanted to have other pages within your website, here's where you will add them. Under Pages on the right-hand side, click plus, and then you can add a new page. The default is that it will become a sub page, and this stays your home page of the website. You can always reorganize those later. There are some themes that are available. So we have Simple, Aristotle, Diplomat, Vision, and it just sort of adjusts the general appearance of your site. They have a lot of new options with settings as well. So when I go to the Settings tab, I'm going to show you that there's an easier way to change the navigation of your website from the top. So having it at the top means that this is the home page, and then it has the other sub pages listed here along the top. But you could very easily move that to the side. And then the color has to do with its transparency against the background. There are opportunities for branding. So if you wanted to use the Ridgewood Public Schools logo in your website, you could do that here. With viewer tools, you want to be able to show people certain things on your site when it was last edited. Maybe you want to have a contact form, or maybe you don't. It's up to you of how you want to structure your site. Analytics, you don't necessarily need analytics, but it helps to monitor your traffic to your site. And then finally, there's an announcement banner. So at the top of your website, there's an option to have an announcement that sort of is superseding the original content of the website. So perhaps if you have a snow day or something like that and you wanted to create an announcement, you have to toggle your own announcements, though. It won't like automatically pull an announcement from another website or Twitter or, a news website or anything like that. So you create the banner color that you want your announcement to appear in. You create the announcement. If you want it to open a link, and then if you want it to open a link, do you want the students to open their announcement in a new tab or just in the same tab? And then if you do have an announcement, do you want that announcement to pervade every single page within your site or just the homepage? So these are all decisions that you can make about your website as you are building it. And again, don't forget that every time you want to look at it and see what the students will see or see what the community will see, you can just go to preview and it'll show you like it's a legitimate website that you're going to. Finally, getting your website to other people. First, this little button over here allows you to collaborate with other people on creating your website, sharing it with people and with groups. But then at the end of it, at the end of all of your work, you want to be able to publish it. And publish is what's going to make it visible to anybody who's not an editor. So that's really what your final step. When you're done and you're ready to launch your site to the world, you want the publish option to happen. And then who can view my site? You can also manage it from going outside of the Gardner Ridgewood Public Schools, and you can change the privacy settings in the same way that you change privacy settings for anything within Google. Hope this was helpful.